Yo, what's good everybody? It's the real King Kai back with another video. And today we're actually going to be talking about a really old anime. If you haven't seen it, I don't know how you haven't seen it. But this anime is called Soul Eater. If you guys really have not heard about Soul Eater, it was a really popular anime back when it was airing between 2008 and 2009. It was also created by the same creator that made Fire Force. So if you do end up watching that anime, you'll realize that Fire Force and Soul Eater do have a lot of similarities because Fire Force takes a lot of inspirations from Soul Eater. So now you guys are probably like, yo, why are you making a video on such an old anime? This probably isn't going to get a lot of views, this probably isn't going to get a lot of publicity. Honestly, I'm making this video because I finally got around to reading the manga. And bro, the manga actually blows the anime for Soul Eater out of the water completely. And a lot of people ask, yo, why did Soul Eater not get a season 2? Because Soul Eater was actually a really good anime if you haven't read the manga, to be honest. But the reason Soul Eater never got a season 2 was honestly because the anime took a completely different route than the manga did. And for a majority of the anime, up till episode 38, it actually follows the manga reliably. It is completely faithful to the manga up until that episode. But moving on, Soul Eater is set in a universe that's actually very different and unique when compared to other animes. Yes, there are still those aspects of everybody has a team and a partner or something like that, but the way people get stronger, their power system, and things like that are very different. The anime starts off with the main character Maka and her partner Soul, who is actually her weapon, on their journey to make Soul a death scythe. A death scythe is the most powerful class of weapon in the universe of Soul Eater, and in order to create a death scythe, you have to consume 99 souls of evil humans and 1 witch soul. However, Soul and Maka actually mess up, confusing a cat with high magical powers for a witch and consuming her soul. When returning to Lord Death, they actually find out they have to start over from the beginning. I'd also like to point out this interpretation of Death was very interesting to watch just because he was a very light-hearted character. He was a very fun character versus the always gloomy, serious Death or evil Death. But that is a majority of the characters in Soul Eater. Even though the plot is very serious, the characters make it entertaining to watch. The characters' personalities are very entertaining. My personal favorite character is actually named Blackstar, and he's a ninja that wants everybody to look at him and will refuse to take the spotlight off of himself. But he's a ninja. To be honest, I really think the characters alone and their personalities are more than enough reason to watch this anime. But let's continue with how the world and the universe works in this show because it is very different, as I said earlier. So, earlier I said Maka's partner Soul is her weapon. And what I mean by that is in the universe of Soul Eater, there are 2 kinds of people. There are Meisters and then there's weapons. Meisters are people who cannot turn into weapons, but through resonation of their souls, weapons and Meisters can partner up. Weapons are literal people that can transform their bodies and body parts into weapons. There are weapons that are scythes, there are weapons that are swords, ninja tools, spears, guns, gauntlets, a lot of weapons out there, and that's only focusing on the main cast really. In Maka's case though, her mother was actually a Meister and her father is a death scythe. However, throughout the show, we don't get to see Maka's mother just because her dad was actually too busy clapping other cheeks, you get me. But the most important key to a character's power in this show is actually their soul. And people use their souls in very different ways. Blackstar, my favorite character that I mentioned earlier, he can actually project his soul wavelength through his body, like his fists, his elbows, things like that. Maka's soul in particular is actually very special because it has what's called an anti-demon wavelength, which specializes in driving away evil. Maka uses this wavelength multiple times throughout the manga and the anime, and it actually shows how powerful it really is. And when you hear that, you probably think Maka's kind of OP, you know, she can drive away villains, she can beat evil, stuff like that, you know, obviously it's going to be a good versus evil type thing. Maka herself is actually pretty weak, and that is actually stated multiple times throughout the series that Maka herself is weak and needs to rely on her partner or her wavelength to actually do a lot. But even though she is weak, Maka still pushes forward and shows that she can do things that people don't expect her to, or she can come out on top no matter how many odds are stacked against her. Her attitude combined with the very fast-paced, action-packed story of Soul Eater really makes it a good watch. However, the problem I really have with the anime is just the fact that a lot of people got development or realized their full potential and it was never shown in the show. And it wasn't until I read the manga recently that I found out what actually happened. Even though the manga does leave some things unanswered, it does a really good job with showing how far the main cast really does go. The manga becomes a story of the current generation trying to make up for the past generation's mistakes and creating a new path forward. And this is especially true in the final arc when even the main villain is revealed to be something even bigger than what we originally thought. Soul Eater becomes a very bittersweet manga, letting go a lot of beloved characters that you do see throughout the series near the end, and creating a new future for the characters that we currently have. I honestly wouldn't mind if the artist decided to continue Soul Eater after Fire Force was finished, which by the way is also in its final arc if you guys didn't know, and gave us like a prequel or even a sequel of the characters when they're older and actually know how to use all their powers and their abilities and things like that. My problem with the anime though is that it took away the fact that the characters really did create a new future for themselves, and it didn't expand on the past generation's mistakes. It didn't show what really happened between anybody. At the end of it, the main villain gets Talk no Jutsu'd and loses the plot. Soul Eater is a very good manga / anime to watch. However, the anime, this is just another show that the anime did not do justice for. If you guys have watched the Soul Eater anime and you guys have not read the manga, I highly suggest picking it up and actually finishing it because it is that good, especially towards the end. But that's really going to be it for the video. I haven't uploaded a video in a while, so I just decided to throw one together. I am going to start trying to be more consistent, you know, draw some more attention to the channel. We'll start building my community a bit more reliably. I am also going to start streaming a bit more, especially in the next coming weeks. There's a couple games that I want to check out, so I will leave the link to my Twitch in the description box below. If you guys did enjoy this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.